Meta cut 8,000 people in May, Amazon cut 16,000, and Block cut almost half its staff. If you're in tech right now, you've probably felt that pit in your stomach wondering if you're next, even if your job is going fine. Here's the thing nobody's really talking about. Not every tech job carries the same risk. Some roles are getting hit wave after wave with layoffs, others are barely moving, even at the same companies that are doing the cutting. I'm Chase, a software engineer at Meta, and in this video I'm walking you through the tech jobs that are actually holding up in 2026, the ones with real staying power, what they pay, and how to get into one if you want more security than the average software engineering role gives you right now. If you're sick and tired of feeling like your job could disappear at any moment with one single termination email, stay until the end. So why is it that some tech jobs are safer than others? Before the list, you first need to understand what actually makes a role stable right now. Companies aren't just cutting because business is bad, they're cutting because AI lets them do more with fewer people in certain functions. The roles that are getting hit the hardest are the ones where the work is predictable and repeatable. So that's going to be roles like junior generalist engineering, manual QA, and basic reporting. But the roles that are holding up are the ones where a human has to make the judgment call, or own the outcome, or deal with something that's unpredictable. So stability isn't about the company anymore, it's more about the role. So this list isn't which companies are safest, it's which jobs inside any company, including the ones that are doing layoffs, are the last to go. So the first role on this list is going to be Cybersecurity Engineer. This is probably the safest tech job that exists right now. Security threats don't slow down just because a company is cutting costs. If anything, they're getting worse, and that's just because cybercriminals are also using AI. So someone has to be accountable when something goes wrong, and that accountability can't be automated away. A lot of cybersecurity hiring is also tied to compliance and regulation, which does not disappear in a downturn. So the pay for this kind of role typically runs around 118K to 190K, and that's depending on the specialization and experience, with senior security roles going well beyond that. So if you want in, the CompTIA Security Plus cert is the standard entry point, and it's recognized everywhere, including government and defense contractor work. From there, you can build towards more specialized certs as you go. The next role is going to be your cloud infrastructure or platform engineer. Every company that wants to use AI does need somewhere to actually run it, and AI workloads do need infrastructure, so servers, storage, deployment pipelines, all of that. That demand only grows as more companies adopt AI, regardless of what's happening with headcount elsewhere. These engineers also tend to own things that would break visibly and immediately if they were cut, and that's exactly why senior leadership is going to be hesitant to touch these teams. The pay runs from roughly around 118K to 175K, with senior cloud architects often clearing well past 200K. So if you want in, the AWS Solutions Architect Associate cert is the most recognized starting cert because AWS still has the biggest share of the cloud market. You can also look at Kubernetes experience with the CKA cert. That's a strong follow-up once you're actually in. Now the next role is going to be a data engineer. That's not data analyst, that's data engineer. This is a different job with a very different risk profile. Companies do want to use AI, but most of their data is really messy and it's just not set up to actually feed into an AI system. Data engineers are going to be the ones who build the pipelines that make that possible. This is one of the few roles where AI adoption is directly creating more demand for the people in it, not less. And the pay for a data engineer typically runs around 110K to 175K, and that's depending on the seniority and the complexity of the systems you're going to be working with. If you want in for this role, strong SQL and Python are going to be the baseline, and experience with at least one cloud data platform like AWS, GCP, or Azure is going to put you ahead of most candidates. And by the way, if you want the exact resume template I used to get hired at Meta, click the first link in the description and I'll send it to you for free. But for now, let's get back to the video. Now the next one is going to be government and defense tech. This is the one that gets overlooked constantly, and that's exactly why it's safe. Government doesn't do layoffs in the way that the private tech sector does. Once you're in, the job security is genuinely going to be hard to beat. Defense spending has been increasing and defense contractors are actively hiring engineers for areas like autonomous systems and secure infrastructure. A lot of engineers never even consider this path because it just doesn't have the same flash as working for a big tech company. And the pay is usually lower than faang, but it's somewhere around 90K to 140K. But the trade-off that you get is stability that's almost impossible to find anywhere else in tech right now. If you do want in, usajobs.gov is the place to start for federal roles, and if you have a security clearance, even a basic one, that's also going to open doors that most candidates just never even get access to. Now, the next role is going to be their software architect or staff engineer. This isn't going to be an entry-level role, of course, but it's worth knowing where you're headed. The deeper that you go into your career, the more your value is going to shift from just writing code to actually making solid decisions about how systems should be built. That kind of judgment is exactly what's hardest to replace because it requires understanding the full context of a company's systems, its history, and what its constraints are. The companies that are cutting junior and mid-level engineering are usually protecting these roles, not eliminating them. And the pay for this kind of role typically runs from 150K to 250K or even more, but that's depending on the company and the level that you come in at. If you are interested in this kind of role, this isn't something that you can just rush into. It just comes from years of owning bigger and bigger systems. But the path does start with volunteering for architecture and design decisions early, even as a junior engineer, before you actually feel ready. Now, the next role on this list is going to be your AI or ML engineer. I'd be lying if I just left this one off, even though it does feel pretty obvious at this point. Every single company is trying to build with AI right now, and most of them don't have enough people who actually know how to. This is one of the few areas of tech where demand is growing faster than the supply of qualified people. You don't need to be a researcher to get into this. If you're a solid software engineer who knows how to work with AI APIs and deploy models, that's going to be enough to get started. And the pay runs around 134K to 193K on average, with much higher numbers at the top end for specialized roles. If you do want in, you need to build something real using an AI API. Whether that's OpenAI, Anthropic, it doesn't really matter, but you want to put this somewhere where people can actually see it work. That alone puts you ahead of most candidates applying for these roles right now. And you know what? I know what you're thinking. Chase, why should I care though? I still want to target a top tech company. Why do I need to look at stable tech jobs? And the reality is that you need to first understand what these roles have in common. Because if you look at this list, there is a clear pattern. None of these roles are predictable, repeatable work that follows the same single step every single time. All of these roles involve either protecting something or building infrastructure that other things depend on, or even making judgment calls that carry real consequences. They're also mostly roles that companies just can't easily backfill with AI tools because the work does require context and accountability, not just output. So the honest takeaway that you want to have is that if your current role is mostly executing well-defined tasks with little ownership, that's the profile that's going to be most at risk right now. Not because you're bad at your job, it's just because the kind of work that is exactly what AI tools are getting good at handling matches up with that. So how do you actually start moving towards one of these roles that I went over? You don't need to quit your job tomorrow just to start positioning yourself better. You want to pick one of the directions and then start building toward it on the side, whether it's a certificate, a project, or just a few hours a week of focused learning. If you're already in software engineering, then you can look for opportunities at your current company to get closer to areas like infrastructure, security, or architecture work even before you decide to change roles. And you do not want to wait until you're affected by a layoff to start moving. The best time to build this kind of security is while you still have a stable job with a paycheck that's funding it. So those are the tech jobs that are actually holding up in 2026, not because the companies behind them are immune to cuts, but simply because the work itself is harder to automate and it's harder to justify eliminating. If you want to take the next step, click the first link in the description and grab the exact resume template I used to get hired at Meta. It's completely free, and if you're not ready for that yet, I highly recommend watching the video on screen next, where I break down the best AI-proof tech jobs through 2030, because this list is really just the beginning of that conversation. Thanks for watching, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.